So today I'm here with a man that honestly needs no introduction. He is a phenomenal performer, but he has taken the time today to sit down with me and discuss All Saints Day, in which he plays the phenomenal role of Kier. So Don, thank you so much for sitting down with me today to discuss this incredible film.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure, honestly. I got the chance to watch this film last week. It is phenomenal. I want to start by congratulating you on the project and especially your performance throughout the entire film because it is fantastic.
I really appreciate that. It means a lot. Thank you.
You do some very, very good work in this film, and I hope more people get to see it over the coming weeks.
Me too.
I want to start off with, I guess, just a little simple question to break the ice, and it's just if you could describe Kier as a character in three words, what would those words be?
Um, he's faithful,
Mhm.
passionate, and troubled.
Yeah, I think that perfectly sums him up as a character. He's a very, very complex guy,
Yeah.
um, but one that is displayed on the screen so greatly by yourself. Um, I have to say, from your very first scene, I was instantly captivated by your performance. What is it
Wow.
that goes into your preparation process, not just for this project, but everything in general that allows you to make these characters feel as real as possible?
Well, I I played a lot of villains and a lot of heavy characters in the past
Hmm.
that didn't take as much preparation because someone asked me, says, "How do you play such violent characters?" I've often said, "I just play what scares me," because I've never really been a violent person, so I don't have much to draw from, but I
Yeah.
think about the things that scare me. But in this case, I've lost family members to alcoholism, and
Hmm.
my mother passed away. She was in her late 80s, but she got dementia, late stage rapid onset dementia, and then my older sister committed suicide back in the 90s. So I get this script, and it's dealing with alcoholism, dementia, and a guy who's drinking himself to death. And at first I was like, no, you really, universe, this is what you're sending me, you know? So
Yeah.
so it was like, oh God, I don't know if I can do this. And then they sent me the script and I read it, and the words, it's one of those scripts that comes along a in a lifetime that is like, I have to do this. As painful as it might be, I have to do this. I have to
Mhm.
do this. And it turned out it was a bit cathartic in a way because,
Yeah.
I was the one in the family. I came from a big family of five kids, and mom and dad, and I was the middle child, but I was maybe the one who they were the most worried about going through my troubled teen years I had the long hair in the 70s and a Camaro fast car, and I got busted for selling marijuana with the first time when I was 15 years old. And by the time I was 18, my father had got me out of jail four times. And so then I straightened my life up and I get to work. And then all these years pass forward, I bury my father, my mom, I'm burying all my family. So it felt a little bit like it was my destiny to come through my trials and ordeals and tribulations to be there to help my family. So
Mhm.
in a strange roundabout way, I was able to reciprocate all the love and support my family had given me because I was now here to take care of all of them.
That's
So there was definitely a familial and a relationship that I had with these other actors in the film, but it was somewhat reminiscent of my own experiences. So, and I think every actor wants to find a role that they can really bring a lot of themselves into.
yeah. I think that only makes it even more impressive what you're able to bring to the character with
Oh,
how I guess
thank you.
raw and connectable the role was for yourself. I mean, that must be rewarding to take on, but I guess also a challenge in how you process that. So yeah, that's incredible to hear. I guess it's very similarly following on from that, Kier is obviously an incredibly complex character, and you've touched on it previously. But from watching the film, what do you hope audiences take away from that? Being, I guess, someone that's been through similar things yourself.
Well, that that if you have someone in your life that's struggling with addiction or something, that there's hope, even though hope wasn't always available to every character in the film. I don't want to reveal too much, but it did end on a on a good note.
Yeah, ends on
Um,
high.
but life doesn't always end wrapped in with a nice little bow and rainbows and butterflies. It doesn't
Yeah,
always go the way we'd like. But if you uh, but if you I don't know, that's not the easiest one to answer, but it felt very real, and having had some experiences that I had in my life that I could relate to the film. It eh, it really brought it home. I hope that people get a positive message from it. I don't want anything I do to drag people down, but if they can come away with any sort of positive message, or want to try an intervention with someone in their own life, do it sooner than later. Um, that might be a good message. Um,
definitely a impactful and thought-provoking watch. So I think you, as a collective, all of you have definitely achieved that. If there's
Thank
that
you.
something to take away from the film, you share many scenes in this film with Jeff Berg and Chad Dorick. You guys have a very, very natural chemistry, I felt watching it. Do you think there's anything that happened that allowed that connection to be there, or was it just,
It, I was blown away. I just booked the job 2 weeks before,
oh
and
wow,
and then I had a lot of dialogue and a lot of monologues, and plus I had to hire a dialect coach and try to learn the Irish brogue, and then it was a faded Irish brogue, so I had to learn the dialect so that I knew what I was fading back from, because I was Boston Irish, not not
yeah,
from County Cork, so I was Boston Irish, so I learn the dialect so that I could pull back from it. But then there's moments where I'm reminiscing of I was basically channeling my father and his some of the moments that he had where he was violent towards me. Then I would thicken the accent for those moments because when you're talking
yeah,
about your father, you think same way as I would if I was talking about my dad. I would thicken up that Texas accent, and
hmm
so. And I was a little worried. I was spending so much time on dialect that I have so much to unpack from this role.
yeah.
Then I show up in Boston. I'd met the other actors just the morning before
Wow.
shooting, and we met briefly and had a little breakfast. And then we said, well, let's have a little read through later. And we uh, at noon we came back together, and still didn't weren't really talking about. We didn't really get that bonding like two friends might or would-be friends might have. We dove right in and read the script, and even the read through, it was apparent to me that these are some good actors, and everybody brought it. And the very next day, we're playing siblings with 50 years of history. 20 less than 24 hours after having
Yeah.
our first read through. It was magical, my friend. It was magical that and the way the script, the way it was overlapping and talking over each other, and weaving through, and two storylines going simultaneously, and we only had 3 weeks to shoot this thing. And we went through a lot of pages, and a lot of films and TV shows, you might be doing 4, 5, 6 pages from the script a day. We were doing 15, 16, 17 pages.
Wow.
So it was immersive, and you couldn't get away from it. But I liked it. I liked diving in and staying. I'm not a method actor, but it lent to some degree
hmm
some of that immersive feeling.
Wow.
But the other actors were amazing. The writer
Yeah, of
was there on set. I think the writing was amazing. And Matt Aaron Krinsky, our
course.
director, producer, director, he was amazing. So it was one of the best experiences I've ever had on a film.
Yeah. And I have to say, without, this going into cliches, it definitely shows.
Thank you.
It's like you're genuinely watching a family unit for the entire runtime. It's the willingness to help each other. It's the emotion that you can see every single one of you depicting. And again, as you mentioned there, the writing is just fantastic. Is the main word I keep coming back to because it truly is. Um, every element, every scene is taken with so much care, and to bring that all together in 3 weeks is no small feat. So that is a fantastic piece of work. You touched on it just there, but in terms of collaboration. Have you ever had any collaborations before this, that these sort of techniques and stuff from that you could bring into this, or was this kind of a completely new experience?
I've done a lot of stage work too, a lot of theater productions,
Mhm.
and so I always try to uh, bring some of that. And I was just very lucky to have had the other actors all came from a theater background themselves. So it was a dream come true in that sense. The way we would rehearse it, rehearse the scene, uh, and like the writer, I mean, the director Matt would just sort of watch the rehearsal and let us play. He would let us play, and a lot of times in shooting, you lay down a rehearsal, the camera crew watches, they send the actors away, and it takes about an hour for them to light it. And this house, since most of the film was taking place in this house, it was pre-lit. The camera guy, the he was the director of photography, was also the first camera. He would watch the rehearsal. We would lay a rehearsal, look over at them. They say, "Okay, let's shoot it." He wore a steady cam instead of waiting for set up the tripods and stuff. We did use tripods in some scenes, but we would go right from our first rehearsal that was very organic because we didn't know what we were going to do. Let's just do it. And we just brought it to the table, and he would shoot it immediately
That's great.
exactly the way we had just done it. And with
Yeah.
the camera being on his shoulder, and if you see how it was a ensemble piece where the four of
Mm.
us were talking, he would be sort of walking between us and three. And so you had to like in theater, they talk about putting up the fourth wall. Uh,
Yeah.
this was like there was this fourth wall chasing us around. You had to always kind of
Yeah.
so, but
Look
I
around.
didn't find that challenging at all. I thought it was very organic and it was just one of the best experiences I've ever had.
That sounds like a lot of fun, a very unique way
It
of creating
was,
a picture. There's a word
and
that,
it helped us get through it in the 3 weeks we needed
yeah,
to do the.
there's a word that you mentioned in there a couple of times, which is organic, and I think definitely it's a great word to describe this film, how organic it felt. You do just feel like you're within these locations, but they actually feel real and lived in. It doesn't just feel like they've popped together a movie set to create this piece. With the sets and the actors all together, it does feel very organic and like you're genuinely in these spaces, just I guess kind of pigeonholing in on this family, which is fantastic.
Well, I knew on day one that we had something special going on because we didn't have the 98% of this film was in my house. So if we didn't have an organic synergistic relationship between the four siblings, it would never have worked because we didn't have there were no other and it was clever of the director to choose this for his first feature film, a script
Yeah,
that didn't involve a bunch of company moves, didn't involve fight scenes, car chases, special effects, any of that. It was all in this house. So the fact that we all uh, clicked so well together, I think that's what made the film. We didn't have anything else to fall back on.
yeah,
There's no
no.
trick, no trickery to,
Again, I guess
no
that
movie magic.
makes it even more
Yes.
organic.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it
fantastic.
was just a filmed stage production, the way I
Yeah,
thought about it. Yeah.
yeah. I guess we sort of touched on it at the beginning, but why do you think it's important that audiences go in and see this full movie? I guess as you said, it's the first full feature length film that this director has taken on. What do you think is so important about the story? I guess as it develops all the way through the runtime, why should audience take the time to sit and
Well,
see this incredible
there's
film?
probably a lot of people that have someone in their life that has addiction problems or and if the family dynamic, the arguing and stuff like that. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And there was a line I said toward the end, family shouldn't stray so far from their homes. Family shouldn't stray so far from each other. I'm hoping people will take that and call their long lost sibling or call their mom and
Mm.
and and don't allow separation between you and your siblings. And so, maybe there's people that will will call that sibling that's hurting
Yeah,
sooner than later.
yeah. I think that's a beautiful
Yeah.
message for the movie to send. And again,
And as far as character-driven films in general,
Yeah.
In the Marvel universe with all the, big budget special effect movies and AI being employed, and just to
Mhm.
see a film that's just four actors, four um, uh, wounded souls coming together and working things out. I think hopefully after this past decade of crazy over the top $200 million budget movies, people will start to want just give me something simple with just a story that I can relate to. And so I'm hoping that we, can start a trend, these small independent films that mean something, you know.
Yeah, that was honestly going to be the next thing I stepped into. I was going to say this was an incredibly refreshing watch in a world of ever-growing reliance on technology. As you just said, with the employment of AI, and I personally feel the overutilization of that already, then I think it's great that we've had something like this that is so, I guess, stripped back, drawn back, and you're able to just really sit with these characters, understand them as people, and by the end of the film, you feel like you know them. And was that something you knew this project would be going into it? I guess the script kind of gives some of that away. Did you know it would be such a stripped back project, almost as you said, like a stage play, or was it, kind of a blind?
I didn't know anything until I got there. And I mean I knew that I loved the script. I knew that I loved my character Kier. I was in tears by the time I finished reading the script. I knew that I was going to do my work with the dialect training and everything, but until I got to Boston and met the other actors and we did our first scene together, I wasn't really sure. I was, like I said, I knew I was going to bring my part, but by the end of the first day, I knew we were onto something really special.
Yeah, yeah, it truly shows. My last question before I think I have to wrap up is just obviously you mentioned him before, but Matt does a fantastic job with this film. Have you ever worked with him before? Have you ever seen any of his work before this, or was this a new experience to work with him?
I had never heard of him in my life, and I didn't get to audition for this, so I didn't have there's that audition stage where you then first decide, oh God, I hope I get this. No,
Yeah.
it was a straight offer, so I didn't. He
Wow.
had he had looked up, I guess we have this site called Actors Access, and it's basically the digital resume for all the actors in the Screen Actors Guild, and maybe in England as in around the world as well. Um, but I hadn't heard of him, but he checked out my work, looked at my demo reels, and they made an offer outright. So I'm like, wow.
Wow.
But I'd never heard of him. I of course I did some research and I
Yeah.
watched a couple of his short films and said, wow, he's a talented man. So I felt good about the director going because I'd already seen some of his work,
Yeah, of
and
course.
I didn't know much about the other actors at all. I looked at a few clips of things that they had done, and wow, they're good. So, but until you get together and you know how you're going to relate to each other, it's really a mystery. You don't know how
Yeah.
it's going to come out because the actors not only just getting along, but allowing for that magic to happen is there's no way to really predict that.
So,
And yeah,
like one of those electric moments that just
it
happen.
was it was.
I think that in itself is just a testament to how incredible you are to go
Well,
back
thank you
to.
so much. I
Because
really appreciate this.
to not even need an audition and be, in my opinion, the perfect casting for this role,
Oh,
and
thank you.
a phenomenal performance from yourself. um and I think I'm coming to the end of my time now, so I do just want to wrap it up and say that as All Saints Day lands on some platforms over here in the UK, please do take the time to check it out. It is a fantastic film. Don is incredible in it. The rest of the cast is incredible, and all the crew behind it as well have done some of their best work, I am sure, to make this fantastic film. So please do check it out. And Don, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you very much, Charlie. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.